Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club. We're your weekly comic book podcast where, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read. Oh, Susan, get into focus. I've got my button on the live video feed for those of you watching. First Issue Club has merch. We're a legitimate business here. We've got an LLC.
We're a legitimate business. Forget about it. Mike D, your intros always astound and inspire me.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, loud thunder over here. We're in Kansas City. I'm wearing my Kansas City Current jersey on the screen right now. And we've got storms a brewing. So apologies ahead of time if it gets a little grumbly on our side.
Yeah.
You hear anything over your way?
Big time. It is raining up a storm over here, and I'm glad we didn't decide to do this in person because I would have been caught up in it driving to your house.
Totally.
If the recording cuts off abruptly, it's probably because I lost power.
Today, let the only superhero we need be the internet.
That's right. Captain Google, here to save the day.
Stay true and keep uploading. Today's a special episode. Not why you think. It's because every episode is special because we're sponsored by Space Camper Cosmic IPA, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company. Let me pop this open and get a sip. Hop explosion on my taste buds. One of the best IPAs, if not the best IPA in the galaxy. Salute Boulevard. You've done a great service to our universe by bringing beer to my taste buds.
You know, I think a lot of people probably roll their eyes and say, of course they're saying it's the best beer. Of course they're saying Boulevard is the best. And I never believe people when they say this. So you out there in listener land probably won't believe me. But Boulevard is legitimately my favorite beer company. And I tell everyone to drink it, even when they're not sponsoring my podcast.
Reach, Vargas. They really do so many different styles of beer really well. I fell in love with them in my younger days when they were doing a lot of large bombers of special limited run beers. And it was a really big first exposure to me of like beers that were meant to be aged a little bit, or beers that had a lot of interesting adjunct flavors that I hadn't tried in beer before. So thanks for ever expanding our palate, Boulevard.
Yes.
You've done us a true service. You've cultured us all.
This holiday weekend, make sure you stay hydrated in addition to drinking your Space Camper because, and I didn't know this, I don't even know if it's true, but a doctor friend of mine told me that 4th of July is the worst weekend to get injured because that's when residency rotation happens. So if you get injured, you're getting like brand new, straight out of med school doctors.
I know it's one of the days where you have the most DUI arrests. Is it still
Sure.
DUI?
Driving under the influence.
The influence.
Yeah, right.
It used to be another acronym. I don't know. Why are we talking about this? Because it's 4th of July week.
That's right.
All we want to say is be careful with the little explosives, get a designated driver, do all that good stuff.
Yes.
Because it's 4th of July week, and this is our 4th of July episode, I thought we'd talk a little bit about a 4th of July dream team.
Oh, okay.
Andy Vargas.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of, you're Andy Vargas, I'm Mike D.
Sure.
Greg's not here today. We miss you.
R.I.P.
He's got to do a duty to his country and family by watching some kids.
That's right.
Raising the next generation.
I would say he's serving overseas, but he's serving across town.
Yep. Salute.
So 4th of July Dream Team.
4th of July Dream Team. I was thinking we'd just go through and kind of pick some things based on some qualities of the holiday. Who's got to be on the 4th of July Dream Superhero Team, Avengers Independence Edition, Justice League of America on America's Day.
Sure.
Number 1, I'm thinking fireworks. I'm thinking Jubilee's got to be on this team.
I totally agree.
You could maybe sub with a Dazzler. There's a couple other people who have like pyrotechnic abilities. One interesting thing I found is that a lot of manga characters have pyrotechnic abilities, and not
Really?
a lot of American comic book characters. And I think there are a lot more of modern manga characters introduced after Jubilee, and I think there's something to be said there about the inspiration of an Asian American character on Asian created comics and culture. So I think that's
totally.
a really cool way to see just like, representation does matter in comics, and it influences like tons of people all over the world to see themselves represented. So I love that. A little bit of some great American diversity in that pick as well.
Totally. You could almost make the argument that, like, does Pyro make the team because he's more on the nose, right? But you can't have a villain on your America team, right?
No, but I think you raise a great point about this sort of character. 4th of July's got the summer heat. It's got grilling. We need some sort of fire guy. Or heat guy. And I think who better than the original Human Torch?
Oh, now you're talking my language, Mike D.
Fighter during World War II in classic Marvel and Timely comics. I think he's a great pick.
Marvel's number 1 cover guy, right? Marvel Comics number 1.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
Okay. 4th of July. It's a party. I don't know if you can think of any party dude superheroes, but when I think party dude, I think Michelangelo.
Michelangelo, you got to do it.
This is our first independent character breaching the 4th of July Avengers. We're bringing in a TMNT member. He's going to bring the pizza over. Maybe you've had enough of Human Torch's brats, and you want to switch it up a little bit.
Human Torch.
You've got the party dude there.
Human Torch, when he makes a brat, he just picks it up, right?
Yeah, he can just hold it in his hand, right?
He just like literally raw dogs it and then cooks it, right? And then slaps it in a bun.
That's what raw dogging means.
Correct. Picking up a hot dog, no glove.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one that I think is going to be a no-brainer for both of us.
Okay.
But I want to think about it a little bit because there are a lot of great choices for this one.
Okay.
Patriotism. We've got to have a patriotism pick, someone to represent the red, white, and blue on our 4th of July team. I want to pose to you a maybe more obscure superhero who is maybe more iconic than the person that's in your head.
Okay, sure.
Uncle Sam.
Oh, yeah.
DC superhero Uncle Sam. One of the OG icons of American patriotism. Does he edge out Captain America on the squad?
Okay, you'll have to refresh me, and maybe you don't know, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. Uncle Sam, he's from the Freedom Fighters. That's his team name, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is he from the future?
I don't think so. He's just like
the actual Uncle Sam that they made that picture about.
Yeah, I mean he first appeared in National Comics #1, July 1940.
Sure. And he's just he's just
he appears whenever
puncher.
he appears he appears in the world whenever his country needs him. He like vaporizes.
Okay, I'm totally in. I'm totally in. Because if that's how he works, then he's like 90 feet tall right now and built like a brick shit house. Yeah. He is here. Let me,
He is the embodiment of the spirit of America. He's a spiritual entity created through an occult ritual by the founding fathers. I mean...
Yes. 1,000 times yes.
Wow, sorry, Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
You've been bumped from the Independence Day team.
Sorry, dude.
What a shocking revelation.
Sorry, man. Maybe if you were created with a mystical ritual... and magically appeared when we needed you the most, like Santa.
All right. As the thunder and rain begins pouring down in my neck of the woods, another crucial element of the 4th of July, noise pollution.
Uh-huh.
Everyone's dogs are scared. If you live in a city in the Midwest, you're not going to sleep until 3 a.m. because some dingus down the block from you has spent a small down payment on a home on a local in-neighborhood fireworks display.
Uh-huh. And guess what? He doesn't have work tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly right. But you do.
Oh, Lord.
Who is our noise pollution pick?
Gotta be Cannonball, right?
Cannonball can break the sound barrier, whizzing through the air.
He's nigh unstoppable when he's blasting.
That's right. He is blasting. The rocket's red blare. The bomb's blasting through air.
Yeah.
We're changing it to blasting for the sake of Cannonball instead of Guthrie. I like that. That's a good pick. Some of the honorable mentions I had on my list were Black Canary.
Oh, sure.
Screeching. Kind of sounded like one of those little like whizzers.
Sure.
That you hear. Black Bolt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Decimating neighborhoods with his vocal boom.
Yep. All
right. I have one more team member or quality that needs a team member assigned to it.
Okay.
And that is kind of like the spirit of the team, or like justice sort of like embodied. Who is that sort of person? And I was thinking Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Kind of has that national spirit of equality and equity and all those good traits that we love Wonder Woman for.
Yes, we are absolutely on the same page. On top of that, she's got the Star-Spangled underwear,
Yep, that's true. She's dressed the part.
She's dressed the part. That's right.
She's got a lasso of truth, and hey, we need more. We need more of that, don't we?
It's true. Honestly, this team could do a lot of good, I think, in the world if they were real or written.
Yeah. I think so too. I think this is something I might take upon myself to write some fanfic for. I'm really excited to see how Michelangelo jives with the rest of the team, but I do think they need some levity and some party time. I did consider Duffman in place of Michelangelo.
Duffman is their Jarvis for sure. He's the guy in the chair. He can't be out there. He can't be out there roaming the streets, but he can do some Googling and helping them from afar.
He's had one too many Duffmans hanging in at home.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so there's a little 4th of July spirit to kick off our special episode this week. We are recording this ahead of the 4th of July because our release schedule puts this out on the 4th. We're going to be enjoying some time with family and friends and kicking up our feet. That being said, there's a lot of great first issues that are coming out this week that you should have on your radar. And Andy, I thought I'd see if there's any of these you have on your pull list or any of them you're excited about that you want to say anything about. I think one of the big releases this week is Absolute Power #1. Last week we had an Omega issue that kind of did some stage setting, but an issue I think that is skipped by many who are waiting for the main title to land and kick things off, which we've got Mark Waid and Dan Mora on, I believe.
Yep.
Are you pulling Absolute Power?
I'm skipping Absolute Power.
Okay.
I can't do it. I think I'm too out of the loop on what DC's doing. The only DC book I'm reading right now is Batman and that Black Label Robin book, Boy Wonder. So
okay, cool.
I'm just completely off grid with what is happening in the DC universe. I'm sure, given the creative team, that it's going to be fun for people that are in the know. But I tried to read that Zero issue, and it just like, okay, I don't know why Amanda Waller is doing this. I don't know what is who all these villains are, or how she's resurrecting these people, or what. But
that's right.
I hope you'll report back and let me know how good it is.
I'm excited to read it. I'll keep you apprised of all those happenings. I do think you're a little more of a Marvel guy at the moment, with Moon Knight being so crucial to like every ongoing title at Marvel right now. So
that is correct.
You're thriving, but you're spending.
Yes, that is correct.
I respect that. All right, here's one that I think you're going to be excited about. That is a Marvel title, Spider-Man Reign 2.
I am so jazzed for this book.
Now, this is a first issue. This always confuses me when I see this. It is a sequel to the original Spider-Man Reign, which probably was like 20 years ago now. Does
probably.
that sound right?
Yeah, that's probably pretty close. I'm just stoked that they let Carrie Kyle Andrews do this.
Mm-hmm. You know a little more about the original Spider-Man Reign than I think I do. I had hit a poor period of my life around when these books were coming out, but this tells like an alternate future reality wherein I think the big crux of the story is Mary Jane dies. Is that right?
Yeah, Mary Jane is dead by this. So this is Old Man Spider-Man, but even before Old Man Logan came out. And yeah, this is a reality where Peter Parker has hung up being Spider-Man because he actually killed Mary Jane or gave her cancer because of his radioactive semen.
Yeah. Oh, wow. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, that's what people like. That's the book where people are like, oh, that's the one where Spider-Man jizzed Mary Jane to death. And it's like, you're technically correct, but that doesn't even happen in the book. It happens before the story starts. But honestly, Reign is a fantastic story. It's all about, what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. And it's almost like the opposite of Dark Knight Returns, where Batman comes out of retirement because people need their ass kicked. This is like Spider-Man comes out of retirement to inspire people to do better and be better.
Yep. Spider-Man's a different sort of character than Batman, that's for sure.
All the hottest takes here on First Issue Club.
All right, we've got All the Things We Didn't Do Last Night, which is a Maria Lovett one-shot. And that's a book that kind of collects some of the things that she did in the Image anthology. So she's a cool creator that I look out for. And so maybe check that out if you want to dip your toe into a one-off Maria Lovett thing and see if she's kind of your cup of tea. There's a new Cyberpunk mini. Those traditionally have always kind of outperformed what I expect from a video game tie-in comic book. And I really think that the success of the first few that were written and Cullen Bunn's helped make Cyberpunk a world that is going to like live in sci-fi fantasy novels and comics for a long time outside of the context of the original video game. So I think that's really cool, and these are always fun to pick up if you need a mini here or there, like the cyberpunk aesthetic. Free Agents is a cool looking book that I think is out on Image, and that's like a Busiek superhero team book, so that might be something to
get Fabian Nietzsche
your hands on. That's right, Nietzsche is on this one too. So classic creators doing a new superhero team that should get you in your 90s feels, I would imagine. There's a Wolverine one-shot. There's a Wolverine deep cut that Chris Claremont is writing. A Chitara book, Star Wars Inquisitors, is a fun, I think, miniseries that's coming out ahead of the Star Wars kind of relaunch that Marvel is doing. So we definitely aren't missing out on some good first issues to read this week. So.
And the other one of note, at least for me, is the Werewolf by Night one-shot.
Oh, yeah.
Because my guess is that this is going to spin off into that Red Band ongoing, or the mini, whatever they're doing. At least I hope. I hope this will have ties to that. So get to catch up with our favorite dog-named superhero, Jack Russell, and see what he's been up to.
People are loving the Red Band books from Marvel, so they're just going to continue doing those mature audience books as long as people keep buying them. So that'll be fun to look out for. A couple Blood Hunt tie-ins this week, so if you're following along, all the adjunct stuff you could ever want and need from an event.
That's right.
Filling your short box. All right. I think you had some comics that you read, and in the spirit of 4th of July, I read a couple comics as well. Do you want to kick us off and talk about what you read and why you read it?
Yeah, totally. So again, we're recording this on a Tuesday night, so we didn't read anything new. In fact, I read something that's incredibly old. I read The Ultimates by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch. It is astounding in a now 20 years of the MCU to read this book and recognize how much of the MCU came from and is inspired by those 13 issues. A lot of it does hold up in that they are grittier superheroes. They're more like real people kind of superheroes. A lot of it does not hold up. Obviously, you've got the famous panel of Captain America saying, "You think this letter on my head stands for France?" A classic bit about not surrendering. But I had forgotten that Captain America goads Hulk into killing the aliens at the end of the issue by saying, "Hey, they called you gay." And there's a big one-panel shot of the Hulk going, "Hulk straight!" And he jumps and blows up an alien spaceship. So, it is certainly a book of its time.
My jaw's on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know that it's we certainly shouldn't look at this book and be like, oh, we should cancel Mark Millar over this.
Right.
Because it came out, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was, right? But you certainly wouldn't write a book with a lot of this stuff today, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
All in all, I did enjoy it. It is a fun book. I read it because this Captain America in Ultimates is like the impetus. It's the book opens with 2 issues of World War II action featuring Captain America, and he's this gruff, gritty guy. And I couldn't help but compare him to Soldier Boy from The Boys. Specifically, what's his name? The guy from Supernatural. Whatever. The live action Boys version of Soldier Boy, where he's, clearly got PTSD, but doesn't want to admit it. He's uses a lot of verbiage that people nowadays wouldn't use, and doesn't really give a shit, and he's like the ultimate boomer, right? But he's a superhero.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this Captain America in the Ultimates is. But Mark doesn't let Captain America fall too far. He's still in it for America and out to punch the Nazis wherever they are, because they're against what America stands for. And Captain America, if he is one thing, he is the spirit of America. Might not be the law or the letter or the leadership, but he stands for what the country stands for. And I think if you can nail that as a writer, you'll have a successful book.
All right. Hey. A complicated review of the 2002 Ultimate series.
2002. Yeah.
It said March 2002. I looked it up real quick. So
yeah.
I wasn't even out of high school yet.
Yeah. Oh, and the collected edition that I read had an intro by Joss Whedon.
Oh, how about that?
Which, again, went on to direct the first 2 Avengers movies and had a, let's say, complicated relationship with the public ever since.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It is wild. Just speaking of just like that time period and when we were in high school, definitely like a very homophobic time in our country's history. Like, especially like you and I are around the same age, and we can only speak so much about like having experienced this stuff. But when I look back on my life and I see just like how much culture has changed to just be more aware of people who are different than just your typical cis white American, it's just like leaps and bounds away from what it was. Obviously, we've got a lot of issues still, but at least people aren't publishing comics where superheroes are like screaming that they're not gay.
Yeah.
Woof.
It's step one is it being in the conversation, right? You have to talk about it for it to be visible. And I guess that is good. Maybe we need to be a little bit more accepting of the people around us, just in general. But yeah, good point, Mike D. You're a smart guy.
It wouldn't be an episode kind of about America if we didn't talk a little bit about some of America's warts, which seem to be growing and festering quite a bit lately, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Uncle Sam would definitely be manifested by now.
Yeah, we'd for sure have the screaming ghost of Uncle Sam ripping up and down the streets.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so unless you've got anything else,
That was it.
I read a couple key Captain America comics. Probably two of his most essential issues, at least at like the dawn of the Silver Age, which is Avengers #4, which reintroduced post World War II Captain America to comic books, and then Captain America 100, which is actually the first solo title of Captain America. The series was Tales of Suspense, I think.
Yep.
Up until issue 99. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Marvel used to do this all the time, where they would just change the title of something so they didn't have to pay to do a new solicitation. So
Yeah.
if a book wasn't doing bad, they would just change it into another book and then like leave it as Tales of Suspense with their publisher.
Yeah.
I started where it all started in Avengers issue 4, just 3 issues into the original Avengers series. We have a fight with Namor, and he stirs up some stuff in like a frozen tundra, and that flings a frozen Captain America into a warmer tide of the ocean, who unfreezes, and then he's found by an Avengers submarine, brought to life, still reeling over the death of Bucky, and then realizes he can help this team in this modern era who is fighting for the same ideals, even though it's a different fight that he was fighting for back in his wartime days. I'll say in this comic, I'm a little surprised how like literal the block of ice thing was and how quick it all happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in comics now, this would be something where Captain America would thaw over the course of like a year, and you'd be like tracking his ice block like all over the country, and there'd be like wars fought for him. And this is just like, oh, it's like he's just sitting frozen in a like ice coffin where Namor happened to like pop out of the water, and then he gets like chucked into the sea, and now he's Captain America again. Like it happens in an instant. So funny. And then the next thing that struck me about this was how little like jingoism there was in this book. Like, I think you picture so much of Captain America being this like iconic figure that represents everything that America represents. But a lot of the classic, or at least Silver Age Captain America stuff that I've read, he's simply a hero with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And a lot of the heavier stuff of what he represents doesn't really become so heavy-handed until much later into modern comics, I feel. Obviously, he's punching Nazis, and he's punching Nazi-like characters that become representatives of like Hitler and the Third Reich in like Baron Zemo, and your Hydra agents are kind of, you know, allusions to these real life villains.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just so interesting, I think, to how we look at that character today, and how Jack Kirby and Stan Lee kind of envision that character just being like a Boy Scout, or like a moral compass sort of character, but wasn't constantly monologuing and preaching about like what it means to be American. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is interesting. That because you would expect almost that those earlier comics would be full of that stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're cornier. They're less like abstract. You would think more like straight to the point in their storytelling.
Yeah,
But
at the same time, this was what, 1961? Is that right?
early 60s, maybe 64.
64, sure. So like the hippie movement's going strong. So you take those sentiments and maybe that's all people wanted was somebody that they hope that the representation of their country would just be, like you said, a moral compass as opposed to somebody who's proselytizing the gospel of America.
Yeah. I do think it is interesting, and I do think this comic did a bit of this, which is to take old school American values that existed in a time that's now past and take someone from that time and plop him into a new era. And then you really realize the character of somebody like a Steve Rogers, who hasn't really changed in his thing that he wants or his driving like goal, like isn't tripped up at all about like where society has gone. He's just like, there's, you know, new technology and more representation in the world around me, but I'm here to make sure that people are safe, right? Like that sort of thing is like refreshing. And then I think like it's easy for us to put that on comics as readers in 2024, but I do think switching over to Captain America 100 is a team up story. So Captain America's first solo title ever is a team up book with Captain America and Black Panther. And I feel like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby really deliberately teamed up Captain America with a black man, because he's got to America adapts and changes, and how we talk about America changes, and these old war comics were not representative of an entire community of people, and comics in the 60s were not even representative of this community of people whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
But there's some diversity in there, and I think it's a bold move in 1964 or whatever to team those two up so much. Captain America endorses Black Panther as a new leader of the Avengers to take his place in that book. They take down Baron Zemo, or an imposter of Baron Zemo, together in this issue. And oh my god, what a fun story. If anyone hasn't read Captain America 100 and you have Unlimited, like definitely pop this comic open. It is like an action-packed thrill ride. It feels so much more modern than a lot of comics from that era that kind of drag their feet a little bit or have a lot of like exposition and explaining where everyone's heads are at. Like, it is just action packed and a really fun way to like kick off the Captain America series. But in any case, that's something that's always been like a crucial part of Captain America, is teaming up with other characters like Sam Wilson as the Falcon for so long, and eventually handing over that mantle of Captain America, something embedded in the character that is so crucial to the character that I think it's lost on a lot of people when they talk about the Captain America in that context. Like, Captain America is somebody who's like very ingrained with the diversity of
Yeah.
this nation. It's like
Yeah.
such an essential part of the character.
Yeah, and that that is almost as important a character feature as anything else is his ability to like build bridges between other superheroes, and he's as much as he fights Namor, they are brothers in arms. They respect each
Yeah.
other. They fought alongside each other. A lot of times Captain America will be like the liaison to Atlantis when they need to get Namor, to sign off on something.
Yeah.
Same thing with Black Panther, obviously same thing with the Falcon, and even Bucky, right, as a representation of somebody who is maybe seemingly lost in their beliefs, or going through some sort of mental health struggle. Captain America is able to build those bridges and reach out to those people.
Yep. There is a quality in him where there's so many like pig-headed early Marvel characters that just get offended really easily and jump into a fight, and Steve Rogers is always kind of like that more level-headed presence in the issue. Oh, I might have lost Vargas. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Now I hear you. Okay. You went out for a second there and froze.
Yeah, I did. I cut out.
Woo! You froze like a bombsicle pop. A great 4th of July treat. Frozen like the iceberg that held Steve Rogers for so long. Vargas, I feel like we've talked about America. We did the dang thing.
Uh-huh.
We came in on a holiday and still recorded an episode of this dang comic book podcast.
We delivered.
We delivered. We showed up and did what we aim to do, which is talk about comics, bring a little bit of levity to your week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Give you something to do on your holiday morning before you blow your little fingers off with black cats. Don't be lighting black cats in your hand and going to throw them. They're not meant to be thrown. Those wicks burn too quick.
That's right.
They're noise poppers. Put them on the ground and light them there.
What else does Greg do? Join our Discord. Come hang out with us. It's a great community. Yeah. We've got a fun cover challenge running right now. Our buddy 10K puts up a little snippet of a comic book cover, and you've got to guess what it is. We got new folks joining all the time. If you're looking for comic book advice or information or opinions, it's all in there. Join our Discord. Join our Patreon. We do extra episodes, bonus interviews, reviews, all kinds of stuff on there. And it's only the cost of a single issue, $3.99 every week. Or every month. Every month.
A lot cheaper.
And all these episodes are going to be up on YouTube. So if you're a listener and you want to be a watcher, you can watch us on YouTube. What else, Mike D? What am I forgetting?
I think that's it. I think I want everyone to have a great holiday weekend. Be safe. Hopefully you took Friday off and get to kick it a little bit.
Yes. Be safe, have fun, and we'll see you guys next week.
Be kind to your fellow Americans. If Captain America has taught us anything, it's that.
It is that.
All right. Peace.